The Italian Wine Podcast is introducing a new donation drive this month. It's called Why Am I a Fan? We are encouraging anyone who tunes in on a regular basis to send us your 10-second video on why you are a fan of our podcast network or a specific show. We will then share your thoughts with the world with the goal of garnering support for our donation drive. Italian Wine Podcast is a publicly funded, sponsor-driven enterprise that needs you in order to continue to receive awesome free wine edutainment 7 days a week. We are asking our listeners to donate to the Italian Wine Podcast by clicking either the GoFundMe link or the Patreon link found on italianwinepodcast.com. Remember, if you sign up as a monthly donor on our Patreon, we will send you a free IWP t-shirt and a copy of the Wine Democracy book, the newest Mama Jumbo Shrimp publication. Welcome to this special Italian Wine Podcast broadcast. This episode is a recording off Clubhouse, the popular drop-in audio chat. This Clubhouse session was taken from the Wine Business Club and Italian Wine Club. Listen in as wine lovers and experts alike engage in some great conversation on a range of topics in wine. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through italianwinepodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. And remember to subscribe and rate our show wherever you tune in.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Italian Wine Club on Clubhouse. This is, of course, our weekly for a while now, more than a year. How many have we done so far, Laika?
Okay, so we've done, this one is the 65th episode.
Oh my goodness, that's incredible. We have been incredibly consistent and persistent, and we've been doing every single week thanks to our Clubhouse manager, Laika. So let's give it a little cheer for her. Excellent. She's also newlywed. Are you still married?
Yeah, I'm still married.
She just got married like a month ago. So. Anyway, and then of course we have Joy. She's right next door. Hello, Joy. Oh wait, she's just there, just not there, kind of.
I'm there. My phone is old and slow. How are you?
Joy, how's it going?
Very well, thank you.
Do you want to share any news with us?
There's so much news, but I think the most important one is the fact we are organizing a new donation drive, yay, for Italian Wine Podcast in November, and it's called I Am a Fan. And I know that's a weird thing, but it's going to be fun. We are actually going to be having a link to our Patreon and to our GoFundMe on our website, italianwinepodcast.com. And that is what I'm working on at the moment. It's super exciting. And we've got Wine to Wine coming up with lots of interviews that will be on the podcast next month and so many things. So take it away, Stevie, because I'm going to keep talking.
Okay, shut up. So Joy, of course, is our producer for the Italian Wine Podcast. We have gone from like 1-2 episodes a week to like 7, 8, 9, 10. So we are driving her absolutely mad. So she's always running around the office, or rather locked up in her little cubicle at the office, trying to produce all of these many episodes. And we do thank you very much, Joy, and all of our listeners out there, because we are quickly becoming nearly 3 million listens just in the past 12 months. I think we'll actually get there. We've passed 4 million listens. It all happened the past 12 months, really. It really accelerated quite quickly. So thank you all for listening and tuning on with us. So thank you all very much. Now, today's show, let's go on with the show. It's called the Ambassador's Corner. You know the deal. The deal is that we have one of our members from the VIA community, and we ask them to have a call with one of their favorite wine producers. And today we have Kevin di Lucente. Ciao, Kevin.
Ciao, Stevie. How you doing?
Come stai?
Sto bene, abbastanza bene.
Are you coming to... This is a dude who's speaking Italian from Buffalo, New York. Hello. To wine. I can't remember.
No, unfortunately, because I work in wholesale, October, November, December are very difficult times.
Yeah.
way. So unfortunately,
That's
I
too
won't be
bad
going
because
there.
yeah, that's too bad because we've also organized a Gita Scholastica, actually three Gita Scholastica. Immediately following Wine to Wine, there's Sicilia Dogs, so there are many people going to Sicily, of course, one of favorites. Montefalco, incredible program, including the truffle hunt. There are like 15 wineries in 4 days. I don't know how they're going to do this. And then, of course, Franciacorta. So that will be very exciting. We're sorry to miss you, Kevin. So, Kevin, let me tell you a little bit about Kevin. Kevin did the course, the Vinitaly International Academy course, New York edition, and he came in with, of course, his infamous, famous teal spittoon from Bath Beauty and Beyond, or whatever that it's called. So I wasn't very impressed. I was like, what is this guy thinking? And then he turns out to be the best of the class. So very impressive, very studious, and very smart dude indeed. So Kevin, I know that you've been working in the wine world for I'm looking up your I'm stalking you right now on LinkedIn. So you were, of course, now you are you're working for Winebow. Prior to that, you worked for David Bauer Wines, and prior to that, you worked for City Wine Merchant. But it caught my eye that prior to that, you were doing something else. How did you change from ophthalmic technician to wine?
Well, if you dive even further, Stevie, you'll notice that I have a degree in theater, which it turned out to be not the most useful degree. um,
Well, if you
so when
become an actor, I
uh,
suppose,
well, I'm always kind of doing stuff like that, acting and improv and music. So I have my side
right?
hobby, which at one point I would have liked to like those things to be my full time job, but I'm very happy that I get to work in a field that I'm passionate about, especially when I get to sell Italian wines. But so essentially, I got out of school and I was looking for a job in Buffalo, New York. And there's some theater jobs around here, but it's usually technical theater jobs. So I was just kind of scraping around looking for jobs, and I ended up finding that job working as an assistant to the doctors in an ophthalmic practice. And I was there for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, and realized pretty quickly that if I didn't find something else, then that would be my career. And I wasn't very passionate about it. I never had an eye exam while I was there.
Well, yeah, that's kind of a telltale sign there, Kevin.
Yeah. Well, and then I had the serendipitous moment of discovering wine and just being lucky to be able to land that job at the wine store, which ended up being a windfall of information all in that 3 year span that I spent there, and pretty much cemented the, the fact that I was going to be making a career of wine. And then, uh, you know, shortly after that, realizing Italian wine was definitely going to be my focus. And I remember discovering that the Vinitaly Ambassador program was actually a thing, and I said, "Oh, I'm absolutely doing that."
Yes, and really, we are really lucky to have you on board because you're incredibly passionate, but very precise, very deep knowledge about Italian wine. So,
Well, thanks, Stevie. And if I can pay you guys a compliment, I think that the program, if anyone is listening who is considering taking the program, I would say that Stevie and the team, Joy and Leica and Cynthia, they all do an amazing job of just fostering a wonderful community where everyone feels included. And it's kind of part of the reason why I wanted to take, the program is to be a part of a community and feel like it belongs somewhere.
oh, well, thank you so much. Now, having said that, let's go on to the show, the real show, where you will be interviewing today with Pierluigi Travaglini. I feel like I really need a gattinata right now. So tell us why you decided to choose Pierluigi Travaglini on the call today.
It's sort of a long story, but I'm going to try and condense it as much as I can. So, uh,
Yeah, try,
yeah, I
dude.
will. I will truly try because I really want to talk to Pierluigi. So during the pandemic, I believe I connected with their Instagram account, Tenute Martorosa's Instagram account, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. And then I realized that the wines were not imported into the U.S., so I kind of just put it on the back burner to one day tasting the wines. My great grandfather is from a small town in Molise, and I also study Italian. So this past September, I spent 2 weeks in Molise, in Agnone specifically, studying, doing a language immersion course, but also with the intent to taste as many wines as I could while I was there. It wasn't a wine trip where I was going to try any of the vineyards. But anyway, long story short, there was a wine shop in Agnone. I walked in, I immediately recognized the labels of Tenute Marta Rosa because they're beautiful labels. And I said, oh, I want to try that. And the store owner immediately said it was one of his favorite producers and highly recommended it. So I tried several different wines and said, oh, these wines are amazing. I'm glad I got the chance to try them. And I'd like to help, spread the message of the winery.
Oh, I must apologize. I really thought Travaglini was from Gattinara, but this is another Travaglini. It's from
Yes.
Tenute Montarosa. So I'm sorry, Pierluigi. Sorry about my mistake. I am unfamiliar with, of course, Molise, but I don't know very many producers there, except Di Maio Norante, of course. But I'm looking forward to that then, to learn more about that. So what are the learning objectives today?
So it's obviously you just admitted that you don't know much about the region. So we're going to
Yeah,
talk a little bit about the region and the history. And this wouldn't be a Vinitaly ambassador podcast without or interview without talking about the autochthonous varietal. So we're going to talk about Tintilia specifically, and we're going to
exactly.
get real geeky and have a lot of fun.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that. Okay, over to you, Kevin. I will come back. I will shut up now and maybe get a glass of wine. I'm not, yeah, I think I actually have some Tintilia in the office. And then I will join you towards the end to see if there are any other additional questions if we have more time. Okay?
Sounds great. I'm usually the one that needs to shut up, though.
Okay.
Pierluigi, hi, are you there?
Hello, Kevin. Hello, everyone. How are you?
Terrific. Thank you so much for joining and agreeing to doing this interview. I'm really looking forward to our conversation here. Before we get into the questioning, I thought it might be a good idea to have you introduce yourself to the listeners and give everyone a background of who you are, what your education is, and more or less how you got into winemaking and owning a winery.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. So, yeah, I'm Pierluigi. I'm with my brother Michele. I'm one of the owner of Tenute Martarosa. Tenute Martarosa is a small winery which is located in Molise, which is also a small region within Italy. Before becoming a winemaker, I'm a chemical engineer. So I've been graduated almost, I think, 15 years ago, and then I started working as a process engineer in a chemical company. But the love for the area where I live and the passion for, grapes and everything is around the world of wine bring my brother and I to invest in this world and start making wine. So we are a pretty young winery, as I mentioned. We are making wine since 6 years now, but we have ancient history as grapes growing. This is the third generation, so it's almost 80 years that we grow grapes. And in the beginning, we used to sell the grapes to other winery, and just 6 years ago, we started making wine. So that's me.
Wow, that's terrific. So speaking about the history, let's talk about the history of Molise in general. So when I was there in September, I learned about something called transumanza, and I didn't know if that was something that kind of helped shape the area that you're in. I was more in the Alto Molise, and that was a big part of how the towns came to be in the history. Is that a part of the history of where you are? And if not, what is some of the history of the area that goes back before your family was there?
Yeah, the what you call transumanza is really, well rooted in Molise. It's more related to the animal farm, if I can say. It's not really, heavily related to the wine growing itself and the winery, because what Transumanza makes essentially, it's during the summer. Usually, who used to um, let me say, how can say in English, um, to breed animals. It's right. I think.
Allevare.
Yeah,
Allevare.
yeah. Allevare. Yeah. So we should take this in Italian, I think. Yeah. So the farm that they used to breed animals. So they used to take animals on the mountains during the summer season, because there was a lot of fresh grass, which was food for animals. But during the winter season, when obviously on the mountain it was cold and we had a lot of snow, it was really impossible for animals to have anything to eat there. So they used to bring old animals just walking through the region, and they used to bring animals on the coast, so on the sea, where it was much warmer, and on summer we had fresh grass there. So Transumanza is like this round trip that the farmer they used to made with animals for providing them food. Essentially, that was Transumanza. So, but we have we have a lot of let me say road of Transumanza we call, which obviously today
Trattori.
is not what we call trattori. This is today is a practice which is not pursued anymore. So everything has changed. So this has been abandoned, like I can say. But we have these what we call trattori, which are the old way that that farmer with animals they used to work for moving from the mountains to the sea and vice versa.
Very interesting. I just thought that would be something that would add to the, giving people an idea of the background of the history of the region. Let's talk about the temperature. So, what is the climate like generally, specifically where you're at? And has it changed over the history of working the land? Is there an effect of climate change? And do grapes grow everywhere in Molise?
Yeah, Molise is, from a winery point of view, is um, not really famous, if I can say, well known, but has a really ancient history in terms of wine grape growings, like the majority of center of Italy. So in the past we were just one big region with Abruzzo. We have Abruzzo, which is close to us. We were about 19 years ago. We were just one big region, and then after that we just separated, and we became an independent region called Molise. The climate here is really, I would say, a classical Mediterranean, climate. So it's really warm during summer. It's a good level of humidity. We are essentially Campomarino. It's the town where we are, where Tenute Martarosa has the majority of land. It's on the sea, so we have a good humidity, and it's pretty warm, also hot during summer. And in winter, it's a really warm winter. It's not so rigid temperature. The lowest we can reach is around 0, 1, 2 C. So it's really warm weather. I will say. So it's an ideal weather or climate for having vineyard and having them growing and old grapes. Reaching the right maturity before taking up to the cellar. In the last years, what we are seeing, the 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 global warming, the climate issue, it's also impacting our region. We are seeing a continuous increasing in temperature, especially during summer, where we have really hot winds coming from south, so from Africa usually, which it tend how it can really to negatively somehow impact our grapes, because when this wind is there, it's really, I mean, around 40 C, and it tend literally to dry grapes and to dry also the leaves on in the vineyard. So it's really something that we are trying to fight as much as possible, but there is not really much that we can do.
So you said there's not really much you can do. Is there anything that you can do? What are some of the things that maybe that people are trying experimentally to combat this?
But we are trying to prepare the vineyard in the best way that we can. So we are essentially, we are not using any kind of chemicals in our vineyards. So we can say that we are chemical free. Even if I'm a chemical engineer, but we are chemical free in our vineyard. So that means that also for the we are not using any kind of pesticide. We are not using any kind of disturbance. So we are just mechanically removing any kind of grass that we don't want in the vineyard. We are trying to making our vineyard as sustainable as possible, and consequently our wines. We are not using any kind of chemical fertilizer, but only manure, mainly from cow or sheep. And this helps somehow. We are also, what we do right now in these days, we are seeding different grasses in our vineyard, which they do up during spring, and they are cutted and left on the soil, so they are going to enrich by um, 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 essentially organic matter the soil, which means to increase the fertility of the soil. And these are all practice that help the vineyard to be more prepared to any kind of extreme, obviously extreme climate event. We also are removing good part of the grapes that are on the plant, just leaving few. Consider that we remove about 50% of our grapes. So we essentially we throw them away. So they are just going to fertilize the soil, and that's because if the plant has less grapes, can better survive to this extreme, can better react to this extreme climate condition.
I love that. That's great that you're using just natural processes to make the grapes a little bit more resistant to things that are changing in our environment. So, speaking about the vineyards, what are the soils like there? And is there one general soil in Molise? Is there lots of different soils? How do they form? And how does it affect the grapes as they grow on the vine? Does it impart minerality? I know that's a hot topic, but talk a little bit more about the soils, please.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I can say that we have really, I mean, we can split the region in two areas, because we have the area which is on the sea, where essentially we have more sand and clay on this side. And here we can have really good white wines, because they are really intense from nose point of view. And the other part of Molise, which is what we call Alto Molise, which is high Molise, so where we have mountains and hills. This area is more a calcare area, so we have more carbonate there. We are it's more it's an area which can better express the red wines, and is where the Tintilia typically take place, because we have a complete different soil there, which can better explain Tintilia. So essentially, we have on the coast a really good soil for white wine. On the mountains and mainland mountains, we have a good soil for red wines, which Tintilia takes the majority of vineyard.
Cool. Thanks for breaking that down. So Molise is obviously a smaller region. I think it's the second smallest in terms of production in the country. Are there a lot of producers there? How many producers are there right now? Do you know, numbers wise?
Yeah, we every year we have a new producer, which came and we can add it to the list. But we are no more than 20 right now.
Wow, yeah, that's still relatively very small. Um, so talking more about the history of your family, and you said that they first planted vineyards in the 1950s. Is that right?
Yeah, it's more precisely in 1930. So it's more than 90
Oh,
years that we are growing grapes. Yeah,
so
yeah,
how did your family originally acquire the land? And do you have you have obviously sites in both Alto Molise and closer to the coast?
yeah. The issue is like that. My grandfather, my grandmother, they are from Abruzzo, which from a town in Abruzzo, which is about I think 100 kilometers far from where we are today. And essentially, they were looking for a place where to grew up their family, and say they were also they also were attempting to leave the area where they grew up, which was in Abruzzo. So they started working, and they found this area, which where we are now, which was almost desert. It was all a lot of trees there. There was no farmer at that time, so they moved there. They found this area which has a nice view on the sea, and they decided to buy that land and to start farm that land. And so this is what they did. They moved there. They bought the land, and they started growing their family in this land. So essentially, is what they did. So in the really beginning, they were farming and harvesting something else, maybe just um, other, other things. And a few years later, they decided to start growing grapes. So they planted their first vineyard, which is almost more than 80 years ago. And then from there, they starting them seeing that was a good business because it was easy to sell grapes for making wine, and so they decided to purchase additional land, and they started, growing and in this way. So this is how we started. This is those are parents from my dad's side. From my mom's side, what they did, because Molise at the time was a not so rich, region. And there was not so easy to find a job. So they decided to emigrate. They moved to France.
Are you enjoying this podcast? There is so much more high-quality wine content available from Mama Jumbo Shrimp. Check out our new wine study maps, our books on Italian wine, including Italian Wine Unplugged, The Jumbo Shrimp Guide to Italian Wine, Sangiovese Lambrusco and Other Stories, and much, much more on our website, mamajumboshrimp.com. Now back to the show.
And there, my grandfather, he started working for a famous vineyard, a famous winery, which is there, which is Chelon-Berger. Not sure I'm pronouncing right that name,
You're
but
asking
it's
the
really
wrong guy to pronounce anything from French.
yeah. So he worked there for about 10 years, and so he learned making wine. He learned everything around the world of wine. And so when he was back, he was from a town which was in the center of Molise, so he was not on the coast. But when he was back, he purchased the land in Campomarino, so where we are today as well, and he decided to plant a vineyard because he learned how to make wine, because he wanted to start making its own wine. And so is what he did. He purchased the land. He started, growing grapes and making wine for himself, obviously, and he was starting also making wine for some friends. And so is how my brother and I also learned making wine. So I remember when we was a child, we were always with our grandfather making wine. I mean, harvesting grapes and making wine, and then we drinking wine obviously as well. It was really nice. So we grew up in this environment. We grew up in this contest in this farm, and I mean and where with us also in us grew up also the passion for this world, for the winery, and everything is around the world of wine.
Wow. So I think that's really interesting that they were your grandfather was in Alsace for a while. Is there anything definitively French about the way that you make wines, or have you kind of what you can say nowadays is it's kind of your own process based on a lot of different influences, or is there something directly from Alsace that you can say we're still doing this practice that they would do in Alsace in the winery today that based on what my grandfather taught us?
I'm not sure because this word is based on history, but it's also a really high pace environment. And so things they are evolving and changing continuously. Try to improve always everything, improving quality, improving the way you are growing and harvesting your grapes. So everything is really changing fast, and I think that practice that we are using today. Are for sure best in class practice that I'm sure also in France have been used and are used today. So for sure a lot of learnings, but I think we are few steps ahead to what our grandfather teached us in terms of making wine.
Terrific. Yeah, I think you're very fortunate to have such a wonderful family history and in the region, and influenced by other regions as well too. So I think it would be a good time to start discussing the wines that you produce at Tenuta Monte Rosa, and what is your production level? How many different wines do you make? So if you could talk a little bit about that, please.
Yeah, sure. So as I mentioned, we are a little small winery. So we used to define ourselves. We are an artisan winery, and we are a family business winery. That's because we produce something between 70,000, 80,000 bottles per year. This is typically our standard. And we make, seven different labels. But I like to focus on few of them. So obviously we produce white wines. As I mentioned before, we are in Campomarino, so we are on the sea, and we have some vineyards which are on a soil which I mentioned. It's mainly sand and clay, which it's really well placed, disposed for producing white wines. White wines are really mineral, really fresh. So really, I would like to say summer wine, because typically you like to drink wines mainly in summer than winter. Typically in winter, you prefer red one. So we produce Fiano. Fiano, I'm sure you know, it's a white grape. Is one of the most ancient grape that has been harvested in Italy since ever. Some studies say us that Fiano has been imported in Italy from Greece, from the Grecian through the Sicily, and then he started. Escalating all the in Italian peninsula. And in Molise, we are the only one which are making Fiano. We like Fiano because it's really smelling wine. It's a really fresh wine for our fresh wine because it is really it's a really good acidity. But what I enjoy most of Fiano is the smell of the wine, because you remember yellow fruit, typically tropical fruit, which could be passion fruit, could be mango, could be ananas, pineapple. So all those smells are typical of Fiano. We are really happy about this product, and it's selling really well. It's really represent our idea of a white wine. Then we have another wine.
No, go ahead.
No, I also like to talk about Tintilia, because Tintilia is probably the future of Molise in terms of wine. Tintilia is an autochthon grape which grows only in Molise region, which has been harvested probably 100 years ago, 300, 400, 500 years ago. So there are some historical documents saying that, but obviously there is not. We are not sure about that. Through the years, Tintilia has been abandoned in favor of other, variety which were more productive, like Montepulciano or Trebbiano for the white wine, for the white, or Merlot, or all French also variety, just because considering that in Molise we had typically the majority of producers of farmers, they used to sell grapes. So as much in terms of quantity, as much as grapes I was able to harvest, so I had much weight, and I was paid more, because Tintilia is a low yield variety, so it's producing not so much like Montepulciano, for example, was somehow abandoned for this reason. But in the last 20 years, just because it's a really nice grape, and thanks to the young wineries, also thanks to Tenute Martarosa, who invested in this grape, and we planted few hectares of this few land of these grapes, just because we think that this is the future. So thanks to a lot of small wineries, this grape is finally back. Is back, and is somehow enabled, and it's is building its own place within the wine market, which is huge, as you know.
So, can you trace the origin of this grape varietal, similar to what you suppose Fiano originated from Greece? And were these grapes there when your family first arrived, or were they grapes that your family started planting after the fact when they were discovered later?
Yeah, about the origin of this grape, there is, some idea. There is no clarity. Obviously, we are not sure about that. But few people, they say that it's coming from Spain, just because and the name Tintilia, it becomes from tinto, which in Spain does mean heavy red color. I mean, if I can say so, heavy color wine. But this is not sure. This few others, they think that it's like a brother of another variety that we have in Sardinia. But also here, if we match the DNA of Tintilia and of those other varieties, they do not match. So it is really not clear where Tintilia is coming from. The more probable thing is that it's coming from Spain, but in Spain there is no any other variety which can match the Tintilia DNA. So that's really not clear the history of this grape, but it's different to any other grapes that we know.
So, what are the characteristics of Tintilia? What should someone who's tasting one for the first time expect to be typical of the aromas and the flavors and the structure and the color?
Yeah, to me, Tintilia, if I have to tell you Tintilia in one word, I will use elegance. Because to me, Tintilia is a really elegant wine. The first, obviously, I'm talking about my Tintilia because Tintilia we are making typically makes 2 years of aging. Part of it makes 12 months in tonneau, which is 500 liters wood barrel. So the first thing that you smell when you take Tintilia is for sure some sweet notes, which is coming like vanilla, which is coming from the wood in this process of aging. But then you have a lot of fruit because this is our idea of wine. It's coming from fruit, so the first thing that you have to smell for sure is fruit. So you will smell a lot of red fruit, and this is the majority of what you can see. So you have some also some tobacco. You can have some liquirizia. I don't know in English how to say liquirizia. Do you know, Kevin?
No, I don't. Someone
Let
else
me
on
try.
that? Stevie, Joy, Leica?
Licorice.
Oh,
Licorice.
licorice. Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes
yeah.
sense. Yeah,
You,
almost
you
like
can.
a anicha.
No, it's different.
No,
It's different.
different.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then, but the most interesting thing of Tintilia that you will smell also some spice, like a black pepper or something like that, which is really unique. I mean, you cannot find in other you can find in only one or two other variety. So that's something that makes Tintilia great. But the other thing is that also, I mean, it's. Tintilia is really good wine for long aging. So you can have Tintilia aging in a bottle for 10 years, 20, probably 20 years, and it will be still a great wine. We are not there yet, so our first vintage is 2016, but we are, I mean, aging those bottles because we are curious to see how it will be 20 years from now.
Well, I can say that I did try your Tintilia when I was there, and it definitely struck me as a wine that had the structure that would definitely be able to age. And I can tell you, it was definitely the most impressive Tintilia that I had when I was there. So I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, so let's talk about the labels of your wines. So my first introduction to your winery was just your Instagram account, and the labels are quite vivid, and there's some gold, you know, embellishments on the labels and whatnot. So who designs the labels? Who came up with the concept? Is there different patterns and symbolisms to the labels themselves for individual wines?
Yeah, I mean the idea behind the label is behind the label was to try to attract as much as possible the potential customer. Um, how can say like surprising the customer because I mean if you look at our labels are something that is probably completely different to what is the standard idea of labels that we have in Italy. So that was thought to try to differentiate our wine to what is the rest of the market. Mainly, we were looking at the Molise at that time. So I think that we are producing wines that are significantly different to the other ones making in the region. And there was also the idea. So surprise the customer and to say, hey, this is something new. This is something completely different to what you are tasting today. But behind that, we tried also to have in our labels also some history of Molise. If you look at the labels of Fiano or the label of Moscato, for example, or the label of Tintilia Rosé, those labels are representing what we call, I mean, it's an handmade work. How can I say that? It's like a tissue which is handmade.
Yeah, so
Very
I
nice to
was when I
see.
was in Pierluigi, when I was in Molise, we visited Isernia, and they have a tradition of making lace. Is that what this is? Merletto?
Yes, what we call it's made with bobbin lace. Yeah, something like that. Merletto tombolo is what we call. Yeah, you are
Yes.
right. And so those labels, they are really representing these. So they are on silver color, gold color, just to represent, part of somehow the history of Molise and what we do there. And so it's like a combination of those two things.
Very good. Well, I spend a lot of time for my job in and out of retail stores and restaurants, and I hadn't tasted your wines, and I walked into a store and immediately recognized them. So I think that the labels are working quite well. So you mentioned earlier that you use natural farming practices, and I think it's it's quite interesting that you're a chemical engineer, and this is the route that you chose, which obviously shows that you have quite a respect for the land. Was that something that your family was doing early on, or is that a decision that you made more recently?
We started doing that, Kevin, in the last in the last decade, the last 10 days, the last 10 years, I can say. Just because we learned that we really don't need all these chemicals in nature. Nature can provide everything we need. Nature can provide everything. Trees and grapes they need. So everything is there. So there is no need to add anything. And I can tell you that. By eliminating all the chemical fertilizer, we have seen responding the soil positively. So we have seen the soil through the years changing. Also thanks to the practice to adding, manure and seeding seeds and cutting them during, and obviously cutting the grass during spring, which means to enrich by organic matter the soil. We have seen the soil be more soft, if I can say, okay? So less rude, less dry, and that's the proof. And also, it's 10 years that we are harvesting and making. 7 years we are making wines without chemicals, and so we are proving that that's possible. So there is no need for all those chemical stuff. We need. I like the idea of being sustainable. I like the idea that when a customer drink a glass of wine, he knows that it's made is as natural as possible, which is an environmentally friendly wine, and it's a sustainable wine because we need to think in the future. We need to think to the next generation, and that's why we are doing that.
Yeah, I think there's many people that would agree with you and are very happy that you made the decision to switch over to that, myself included. So let's have a little bit of fun and ask a hypothetical question. So let's say that you had to choose one other region outside of Molise. It could be another part of Italy or really anywhere else in the world to make wine. Where would that place be and why?
But I think, Kevin, that if the climate is the right one, if the vineyard can survive to the extreme, climate, I will say that I will like every region, just because what we do. It's true we do wine, but essentially what we are telling with our wines, we are telling our territory. And I'm sure if I will take the Tintilia, which grows in Molise, and I will go, for example, in I don't know, North America or in France or wherever. Grapes are easy to grow. Uh, I will make a really good wine there as well, which obviously will be different to what I do in Molise. And this wine will be the expression of a different territory. What in France they used to call terroir. It will be a different expression of a different condition, different climate, different way of maybe harvesting the and growing up grapes. And I think will be good everywhere. But I really like places where it's too cold for having for having any kind of wines of grapes growing. I will say Patagonia, but it's too cold there. So that's my idea. I mean, we can do good wine everywhere if we have the good knowledge and the good love for what we do.
That's great. I put you on a spot a little bit with that question, but I appreciate it was a little bit of a political answer where you kind of indirectly told us that you like to make wines that taste like the place they come from, and I'm quite happy that you're doing it in Molise. Do you have any future plans at the winery? Plans to get different vineyards in different places, experiment with different varietals, or do more with Tintilia?
Yeah, we strongly believe that Tintilia is the future of Molise and will be the for sure the fundamental for our growth. So that's why we are investing on Tintilia. We are going to plant a new vineyard of Tintilia in other region of Molise. So we are trying to differentiate as much as possible. So we have some Tintilia in a town which is close to Campomarino, which is Casa Calenda, but we are looking for other soil in other town, just because these three areas they will bring us different. Different wine, because the one that we made in Casa Calenda different to the one that we made in Fossalto, which is different to the wine that we make in Campomarino, just because they are the expression of different territory. So we are doing that, we are planning that because that will enrich the complexity of our wines and can better be the expression of Molise. And we are also planning for, making a new winery. So we want to expand. Essentially, we are in a small in a more structure now. We want to expand it because we are growing, and we need to prepare for a higher, really fast growth.
So, is there a consortio in the region or a group of people that are trying to help market the wine in the region outside of the region right now?
Yeah, there is a consortium of Tintilia, which we call consortium of Tintilia. We should work on, talk about Tintilia outside the region, so, and having Tintilia known everywhere, all around the world. So we are part of this consortium. We are working on that. It's not easy because the region is really small, and also the quantity of bottle that we annually produce of Tintilia is really small. So it's challenging. It's probably not enough for having a Tintilia well known outside of Molise, Italy, and all over the world. So we should grow, and I'm one which thinks that in Molise we should remove everything and have only 1 yard of Tintilia because it's the only autochthon grape, and I really like Tintilia.
Well, I definitely do as well. So going back to your winery proper, so you work with your family, and it's you and your brother that founded the winery, correct?
That's right.
So what is it like working with your family, and who does what? Because are your parents also involved in the winery?
Yes, they are part of this project. They are fully involved. Yeah,
So are there
Kevin,
specific
I think
jobs that everyone has, or do you all kind of pitch in every single aspect?
we tend to have some dedicated area where each of us will typically focus on. Obviously, my mom and my dad, they used to be more supportive. Okay, so they are trying to support us where it's more needed, mainly during the harvesting season, where the work is really really hard and it's really probably too much. We can work up to 24 hours per day for making our rosé wine and white wine. It's a really intensive time, and so we really need extra people there. But the majority of the majority of activities are performed by my brother and I. So my brother is the one which takes care about customer relationship, is the one which used to sell wine. So it's the interface with the customer. So he's the one which it's mainly taking care about marketing part. and he's also, coordinating all the activities in the vineyard. So he coordinates, somehow supervise. He is the supervisor of all the work and the task that needs to be performed through the seasons. I'm the one which is more, dedicated, which works more in the winery. So I'm the one which, work with wine directly. I'm the one which work in the lab, checking the some quality parameter of our wine. So I run the analysis. I check that everything is fine. I work with our consultant, which is. In Italian, I say enologo. I'm not sure in English what's the right word. So it's
Yeah,
the one.
maker.
Yeah, the winemaker. Yeah, sorry. So I work with the winemaker, which works for us. So I'm the one which make the all this task within the winery.
Oh, that's wonderful. So you're not currently in the United States, correct? You don't have an importer in the United States.
We do not yet. Yes.
Okay, but you maybe would consider one and be open to conversations, correct?
Yes. We already have in the past few approach, but nothing that has been. Which moved forward.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that, but I would also part of this is purpose of this interview is also maybe put your name out there a little bit more, and maybe if someone is looking for a nice producer from Molise, then perhaps they'll get in touch with you, and maybe it'll work out for all parties involved. All right, so I have another fun question for you, and then we'll probably wrap up shortly after this. But um, what is one of your favorite places in your vineyards that you feel lucky to visit every time you're there? And do you have a special memory from a time in the vineyard with your brother or your family? Is there a funny story that happened? And I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but is there anything you'd like to share, even if it's just one little sliver of the vineyard that you always make a point to go and visit?
But to me, Kevin, there is not really a place. It's more being together in the vineyard. So it's also the same thing that I see when I say it's a family. It's a family business. This one. So the most which I like more of this activity is that I can spend time with my family. I can work with my family. We can. I can stay with them, and we can. Project, we can make project, we can see the result of what we have done all together. So staying together, I think this is the power of Tenuta e Marta Rosa, and also this is what I really enjoy more in the vineyard, because working in the vineyard is really hard work, but being together is what I really like, and this is what I enjoy more.
That's absolutely wonderful. I think that's a good place to wrap up. Pierluigi, it's been an absolute honor talking to you. Thank you for taking the time. And I will hand you back over to Stevie Kim if she has any questions, or if there's any questions from the audience, if anyone has any questions for Pierluigi. Stevie, are you there?
Yep. Hi. Thank you very much. Hold on one second. There you go. Congratulations. Pierluigi, you did a great job. I do think that you're looking for an importer stateside. I would like to ask you a question, just like an overview with regards to, I see you have 8 labels, 8 different labels. Is that correct?
That's right.
And how many bottles do you produce of each? Just so that we can contextualize a little bit of your production.
It depends by obviously the wine, but we are between 5,000 and 12,000 per each bottle.
Okay. So is it fair to say, obviously you're focused on Tintilia as we've learned, but what is your signature wine? Is it the IGT, or is it the Tintilia del Molise, or is it the Antico Podere, which is more Montepulciano?
I would say Tintilia is the Tintilia del Molise.
Okay, Tintilia del Molise.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you so much. I love the questions about the family. We didn't quite get an answer, I think, like who does what exactly, but I look at the picture in your website and you just exude, like a nice family. So, congratulations and good luck to you, Pierluigi, and hope to meet you in person sometime. And if you'd like to, get in touch with us. I mean, at Wine to Wine, for example, we're doing a B2B event. That could have been a good place for you to have participated, but maybe next year. So we keep in touch, and you never know.
Sure. Thank you, Stevie. Thank you, Kevin, for this really nice discussion. And stay in touch.
Ok, thank you very much. Ciao
Thanks.
ragazzi,
Bye.
alla prossima.
Sniff, sniff, sip, sip, and spit. Once again, here we go.
Listen to the Italian Wine Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Himalaya FM, and more. Don't forget to subscribe and rate the show. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. Until next time, cin cin.